Okay, we're going to look at how to make some blinking lights. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm at frame 0, start a new switch layer, and I'll just name that blinking. And then, let's say I'll show you 3 lights. So, vector layer, we'll name this one red, and then let me drag this into the blinking switch folder there, okay? And then if I just make a copy of that vector layer, then I can name this one blue, and another copy, and I can name this one green. Okay, so I paused the video and I made some little circles right here. Green, blue, red, okay? I'll have like chaser lights. And you could do just 2, or you could do more than 3, but I think you'll get the principle of it here. The other thing, I forgot to add a none, a layer for just nothing. And that could be important if you, certainly if you only want the lights blinking at a certain time. So let me go click back on the blinking folder and collapse that. Now I realize that it's not likely you're going to want chaser lights there in your gutter, but I'm going to move over to where the ball hits the pins and just start the lights there. So you can see how you would start them later on during the animation if you didn't want them going cycling throughout. So over here with a right mouse button click, none was the default. Let's say I choose green next. All right, right away what you'll see is that the green light appeared. Prior to that, because none was the default, that is all none. And here I'll show you. So you have none, and then boom, the green shows up. So depending on the speed you want the blinking, and you just have to do trial and error and figure that out. But I'm just going to move a handful of frames and see how this plays out. And then over here, a right mouse button click over blinking and choose blue next. And then move that pretty much same number of frames and choose red. And then you see it appear. And I'm going to go about the same number of frames, and I'm going to choose none again. And then I'm right here, I'm at the beginning of none, happens to be frame 148. So I'll right mouse button click over top of this bar where none starts, and then choose cycle in that menu. Now from here, if I want this to cycle through, that chaser light effect, the blinking to occur over and over, then I need to tell it to cycle back to some exact frame. Well, in this case, I want to go cycle back to the beginning of green, and if I look, I see that's frame 133. If I type it in, 133, and then well, let me hit enter and then close this. And let's see what happens. I'll click back a ways here on the timeline, push play, and it continues to run along the timeline, as you can see, but the lights continue to chase. Okay, let me stop that. I'm going back because I want you to see that it's just this area that I'm cycling. Green, blue, red. Okay, it's continuing to go because of the cycle function. And if, now this one doesn't happen to have, here, the copy that I have of your file doesn't happen to have the pin setter and the sweep, but if at some point I wanted the blinking to stop, and say that was on arbitrarily frame 172, I just go to there and then right mouse button click over blinking and choose none. And that literally would stop that cycle. So I'm dragging the scrub bar across. The cycle of the blinking continues until it hits right here. And then it literally makes it stop. Oh, it is in there. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. So I wonder if I can move this over to match. You know, I'm experimenting too. So let's see. Not a very practical time, I suppose, to make those lights stop. But the point is, if you wanted it to resume, say at frame 240, then I could do this again. Green, blue. So you see what I'm doing. Red. None. At none. I'll choose a cycle again. This time it was 240. Let me close that. Let me go all the way back. And let's see what happens with the chasing lights. So they play out, they stop, and they start to play out again. And this time they don't stop yet because, here, let me click the stop button. And I see that you've got a total of 400 frames, so just going back a little ways to 363 and none again. So I've created that stop and go here. So they start up. They stop blinking when I get to the none. They resume blinking. That's happening really fast, I know. So here's another possibility. I got inspired by your title and I thought I should show you this too. I paused the video. I changed from blinking lights, plain old vector lights, to these little snake graphics here. They've got a transparent background. I made a copy of the same snake. One is over here on the right, and one is over there on the left. Just to show you that you can pull this off again with a switch layer and kind of do the same effect. And I know this is probably going to look a little bit absurd, but so I'll create a little bit different kind of cycle here with these two snakes, and I'm going to close up the switch folder. And I will go over to, let me try frame 9, and then right mouse button click over here on top of the switch folder and go for snake 1 first. What that did is, starting out from 0 up until 9, the none, and then this snake appears. So I'll give the snake some time. This may be too long, I don't know. Again, experimenting. And I'm going to put none back in for just a bit, so there's a pause between the two snakes. And put in a little time, and then put in snake 2. Let's see. And then try for, I'm not sure about the length here. And then I'm going to go back to none. Okay. So I've got none, snake 1, none, snake 2, and then none. At the very beginning of when none starts, then I'll right click over top of that bar there, choose cycle, and we can, because I've started at the beginning in this case, I can go ahead and allow for the default of frame 1 being the beginning. All right, let's play this through, just see how it looks. All right. Sorry I had to pause the video because I had put the sound back on. It's too distracting while I'm trying to show you this. Okay. So they just continue to take turns showing up. All right. Now, just in case your next question might be, well, what if I want both of those snakes turning on and off simultaneously? Then you're not going to be able to use the switch folder. You're going to have to use that visible checkbox, okay? Because the switch folder only works for one thing at a time. So if you saw that and you thought, oh, maybe I should do something like that, but I want both snakes showing up at the same time and then disappearing at the same time, then you just simply have to coordinate that and using here, double clicking on a layer and checking and unchecking visible the same way when you change scenes. Just remember in that case, they can no longer be inside the switch folder, okay? You just completely do not even use that if that would be your goal. So anyway, it's hopefully this helps to give you some ideas, and I'm sorry I always try and make tutorials only 5 minutes long, and that just never seems to work out for me. So give it a try, and if it still isn't working out for you, you can always do the gather media, put another package on the cloud storage for me and let me know, and I'll even fix it for you, okay? So good luck.